I'm starting off this morning. The meter is on, kinda screwed, because I have a bus ticket from Washington D.C. to Charlottesville, but I don't yet have a ticket for from Baltimore, but I'm in Baltimore. So yeah, bit of a problem there. I think I can I'm going to try and get an Amtrak train, but to DC here in the next hour or so. There's one that leaves in about an hour. But I tried to book it last night, but the doggone, but I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi, if it's the Amtrak app, if something funky is going on with my card, but it would not take my little prepaid gift card. If anyone else has had this problem, please let me know in the comments, but I got to get out of here. But right now I got to get my tail to Penn Station, or I'm going to be here, or maybe even here. And if I miss my bus, I'm going to be here. But right now, come on. Right now the meter is still here. Actually, I should probably put it about there, because I should probably put it about there. All right, let's get moving. Next to the northeast corridor. Let's see here. Now, under this wonderful electrification, I was able to get I paid 3 times more for the ticket on this Amtrak train than I would have paid for a Marc train, which uses diesel. And that is the main reason, in fact, the only reason why I did that. So, which I know kind of pushes the boundaries. It's interesting. I wonder how people from Egypt actually feel about that. Do you think they consulted any of them when they made that? Highly unlikely. I think I hear the train coming. Or is that a Marc? I can't see. No, that's Marc. So that's the train. No, sorry. Let's take a look at this foolishness. Now, how much money do you think Maryland is wasting burning all that diesel when they could just be running it off the wires? Which they used to do, by the way. They wouldn't even need to buy new locomotives or upgrade these. Because now that's more like it. Ha 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 ha. Now that's... Sorry, I don't want to accidentally record anybody without their permission. I'm going to have to stop filming. There's too many people around, but, you know, I could go back to Marc. I better quit. They're probably not going to like this. I don't have a speedometer app on my tablet, but this has got to be... Look how fast those trees are going by. And those sleepers, you can barely, are just basically one big blur. And there's about 3/4 of a meter between those. And yet at this speed, they all just look like one. The sleepers are the crossbars that hold the tracks together, by the way, for those of you who are new to train foamer content. Anyway, and look how fast the trees are going by. And that little Marc platform. And we were going nearly this fast when the Acela passed us. I remember the Acela was accelerating out of BWI. This is really, really cool. We're going about 200 kilometers. These trains between Baltimore and DC, they top out at about 200 kilometers an hour. Even the Marc trains get close to that, reach that speed. They might be slow. They might be have a slight speed restriction due to the rain, but it doesn't seem to be making a big difference because we are flying. And to think that this is literally the sole example of this sort of infrastructure on this scale anywhere in North America, and yet it's so common as to be boring in India. I mean, that bridge was probably at least 200 meters long. I'm hoping we'll blow past some cars on that little road. Darn, we didn't. And yet, this is just so cool. Now we're splitting away from this northbound track. Just a little bit of an obstacle we had to get around. Now it should be noted that this section of the Northeast Corridor was first carved out in 1832 by the Baltimore Railroad, and indeed, and slave labor was used in the project extensively, in fact, though not exclusively. There goes a Marc headed north, heading up to Baltimore. Yeah, the human eye just really is not built to appreciate, to accurately judge this kind of speed. In fact, a few of the fastest birds of prey are the only animals that can reach this kind of speed. The only other animals that reach this kind of speed. But yeah, so I can understand if some people have mixed feelings about the Northeast Corridor, given that, especially this section, given its connection to the injustice of slavery. But of course, it's also true that this very same corridor carried hundreds of thousands of Union troops into the fight to end slavery, and including members of the United States colored troops. So, and even before that, some of these trains on this corridor were used as part of the Underground Railroad. Some interesting railway equipment over there. So it's a mixed bag, and today it is the most environmentally friendly way to travel. There's no doubt that is beyond controversy. Wow, we're really stepping on it now. Backup tentograph that these engines are equipped with. They have the one up here that is deployed, and if something goes wrong with that one, they just pop this one up and they keep right on rolling. So what's really cool is over here. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this without accidentally recording anybody. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait. So before we leave DC, we get one last look at some electrification here. They're installing some EV chargers over here, and you can see here's my bus out of here. Those are big EV chargers. They might even be for buses. That would be awesome. Through this tunnel under. You see, it's quite a ride. Buried this freeway, which was similar to Boston's Big Dig, but hopefully not as much of a debacle. Coming out of it. And there we go, we're back in the daylight. And the rain. About the future of Virginia Breeze. This is two trips in a row where the bus has been nearly empty, but maybe it'll fill up when we get to Dulles. That does sometimes happen. Tablet froze, and I missed almost the entire crossing of the Potomac. Darn it. Not sure what that big white dome out there is. As we're picking our way through notorious DC traffic. It's moving. It's heavy but moving. We're heading into construction. Now we're crossing the main channel of the Potomac. Got the railroad bridge over there with those trusses. Mini buses headed into DC. I'm not sure who they're with. We are actually passing Ashburn-bound Armada train. I know it's Ashburn because it said so over the door. There we go. So it's kind of sad that the bus is faster than the train. Examples of electrified railway in Virginia, which is actually significantly more than most states have, which is to say nothing. Hopefully that will change. A lot of people would like to see the Northeast Corridor extended to Richmond, great start. It's still a pittance compared to what actually needs to be done, but if we could just get that done, maybe it would put enough of a crack in the dam that full railway electrification could get started in North America. Maybe instead of giving all our money to the Pentagon and the occupied territories, we should be doing that. have to fight illegal wars in the Middle East for oil. Things that make you go, This bus area is absolutely massive. And the reason for that is because the Silver Line was so massively delayed and over budget. And so for years, WMATA bus service had to pick up the slack. So they built this absolutely enormous bus station out here to make up for it, to fill in the gap. That is very so. I mean, it is nearly this curve must be nearly a kilometer long. It's crazy. So, but every now and again, when the Silver Line goes down, they have they bring back rail replacement buses and it fills its function. But most of the time, it just kind of looks a little ridiculous. Coming into the Culpeper stop now, which means my stop is the next one. But here's what's cool here, is that local, that's what makes this stop interesting, is that you have local transit. They run a dedicated shuttle bus from Culpeper to the stop and back for bus passengers. So it's the only stop that does that. Now, why they don't, hopefully they'll start doing this at more stops. Look like the one back there in Warrington could really use it. No one used it today. No one really wants to travel in this kind of lousy weather. So we're now in Madison County, named after notorious slave owner and hypocrite James Madison. 29 gets kind of hilly through Madison County. Of course, there's a lot of agriculture in Madison County, which is a lot of these fields haven't really changed much since the slavery days. We're now heading into Greene County over the bridge. Now this bridge survived the flood in 1995. In 1995, Madison County was hit by a massive flood. They said it was a 500-year flood. And it wiped out. It destroyed over 100 bridges in Madison County and surrounding counties. And then, barely more than a year later, they were hit again by Hurricane Fran. The southbound bridge back there was destroyed in the flood, and that's why the southbound bridge is so much newer. Jeez, buddy, you want to keep your bucket of bolts on that side in your lane? Yeah, and it's pretty sad that that's the only
trace of electrification we'll find out here. County is the smallest county in Virginia. Here comes this moron again. It's named after another notorious slave owner, Nathaniel Greene. Anyway, so flooding was amazingly only one person died in the Madison County flood of 1995. But flooding was so severe, it will leave a small but nevertheless discernible trace in the geological column. This is why transit vehicle signal priority is so important. Imagine if this bus had signal priority through Charlottesville. We could easily make up the time we lost because of that wreck, but no, we're just gonna get further and further behind. Probably going to get there about 1:30. We have to wait till 2:30 for the Afton Express to start running, so we should be in theory, we should be all right. Now we're coming up on an interesting little piece of infrastructure. Trenched the middle lanes of 29 here and made it in order to grade separate this intersection, because there used to routinely be traffic jams 2 kilometers long here when it was just when it was an at-grade intersection, but once it was grade separated, they fixed that problem. I'm not 100% sure how the bus is going to get over to UVA. It's really weird to be riding through the same urban sprawl I normally drive through. Goodbye, Virginia breeze. Hello. You better stop. Hello, Charlottesville downtown trolley. So I'm not going to have to hang out in the rain. Hello, sir.
This stop is West Main at 11th Street.
Today, for the rest of the days, I've successfully gotten off Piedmont Express, and I'm now heading to the downtown transit center to catch the Afton Express back to Waynesboro. Fortunately, I didn't have, it was an almost instantaneous transfer, so I'm not going to fuel myself the meter. I'm not quite there yet. I still need to confirm that the Afton Express is running today, but it's extremely likely that it is.
Next stop, West Main at the Plus.
Here, I decided to stop here, get off. It was getting a little hot on the bus, so I stopped here, grabbed some lunch, and I'm just gonna walk the last about 600 meters to the transit center. I was gonna have to stop and get lunch anyway, so this is really not the worst outcome. Walk down the wonderful Charlottesville downtown mall, and I really need to get my tablet out of the rain.